make that 3 wins in a row, Bulls Nation, and yet again the Bulls hold their opponent to under 100 points for the 3rd straight game. Is it possible the Bulls could win 4 straight for the first time all season, and I believe last season as well? The Bulls really have to win all of their remaining games to even have a shot at making the playoffs, which is still doubtful, but let's not count them out just yet. We'll see how things turn out in their next game against the Nets on Tuesday. But another great game for the Bulls on multiple fronts, specifically the trio of Lavine, Vucevic, and Coby White working together almost effortlessly was a thing of beauty, to say the least. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. So if you got my video from earlier this morning, I was talking about how it was critical for the Bulls to finish their remaining games of the season strong, regardless if it meant them making the playoffs or not. Feel free to check it out in case you missed it. It'll be the first video on the end screen at the end of this video. But in that one, I talked about 5 things we really need to see as the Bulls close out their last 5 games of the year, and building on those great performances against the Hornets and the Celtics. And for the most part, the Bulls really capitalized on all areas that I mentioned that would bode well for them when it comes to free agency in the offseason. Their defense was still on point tonight, even from guys who aren't necessarily known for their defense, and they played solid defense even without Daniel Tice tonight or Troy Brown Jr., who has been out for a while now. The chemistry between Lavine and Vucevic continues to be apparent and developing more and more with every passing game. The chemistry from the team as a whole is really there, seeing guys having fun and enjoying themselves and actually working hard and playing with hustle and energy. And the other thing was that the guys only turned the ball over 8 times, which I wanted to see them not have a single game where they turned the ball over more than 10 times for the remaining 5 games. Really, the only thing we didn't see tonight that was one of my keys was seeing Patrick Williams show up strong in these final games. A bit of a quiet game for him yet again, only 4 points on 4 attempts in total to go along with 2 rebounds. He's still got it on defense, which is key obviously since the Bulls need all of the defense that they can get, but I'd really like to see him step it up on the offensive end to close out the season to make the Bulls that much more attractive in terms of their free agency destination. Now, I'll have my weekly preview video out tomorrow, which of course is the final week of the regular season, where I'll go a little more in detail in the matchups that we'll be seeing next week. But as far as, I'm sure that you guys already know, the Bulls have a tough upcoming schedule to close out the season, and playing against the Nets twice, the Raptors, and the Bucks. Not an easy feat when you really need to win the remainder of your games, and of course also hope that the Pacers lose the majority of theirs, which we'll have to keep an eye on this week. But tonight's game, what I liked seeing was the fact that the Bulls didn't mess around, and they won a game that they should have easily won. They did falter slightly in the 4th quarter, which we actually saw in the game against the Celtics, where it looked like they were almost going to let the Celtics come back and make it a game, but the Bulls quickly took care of business and went on a run to close it out. And for the Bulls in this one, it's the Pistons. It's a game that you have to win against a team that isn't even looking to win. I know the Pistons have some talent and they actually play hard, and you can even say their record is better than what it looks like, but the Bulls have to win these games. No messing around. Come out and hit them early and never look back, and that's what they did tonight. It was interesting because despite the large lead the Bulls had throughout the game, Billy Donovan kept his rotation short tonight, which has always been his MO throughout his coaching career, and why I found it surprising that he'd been playing 10, 11, or even 12 guys on some nights, and not when it's garbage time either. But tonight's game, despite a blowout for most of it, Billy Donovan only played 9 guys the whole game, which, with Tice being out of the lineup, made sense. And again, the story of tonight in terms of, incredible performances were Zach Lavine, Nikola Vucevic, and Coby White. I think some in the chat had mentioned that this is the Bulls' new big 3, and I would love for that trend to continue if these guys can continue playing the way that they have been. And again, all about consistency. Can they do it on a nightly basis? But Lavine, 30 points tonight, his 24 30-point game this season, shooting an incredible rate, a 10 for 16 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3. He was also 7 for 7 from the line, just inching closer to that 50-40-90 club, although it's likely too much of a gap on his free throw shooting to get there at this point in the season. Lavine also finished the game with 6 assists as well, with some nice dimes to Vucevic and utilizing his playmaking skills more on the offensive end, which I obviously love seeing from Lavine. And of course, How about Nikola Vucevic? 29 points and 16 rebounds. Dude is just a beast on the boards, which is something the Bulls needed so desperately before the trade deadline. He was 1 for 8 from 3 though, which was a little ugly for him, but 29 and 16, I'll take it if the team can walk away with a win. And then Coby White, what I like seeing from him in this game was the fact that he was much more efficient with his shooting. You know, the past few games, although we have seen great improvement from Coby in a number of areas, particularly his decision making and ability to run the offense, but his shooting was always down a little bit, right? Which I honestly didn't mind because I would much prefer to see Coby be a much more effective playmaker than a pure scorer. But tonight, he was a bit of both. 21 points on 8 for 16 shooting, another 5 3-pointer night for Coby. Continues to be knocking down those shots and being smarter about the ones that he takes. And guys, Coby and Lavine, just like the last game, combined for only 2 turnovers yet again, each of them with only 1 turnover each. And again, that was another key thing that I wanted to see as we started closing out the season. I would say the one disappointing area, which just continues to be such a sad sight to see for Bulls fans given the high expectations that we had of this guy when he started his career, and that's Lauri Markkanen. Just 2 points. He had only 2 attempts all game and 23 minutes of play. Was decent on rebounding, 7 rebounds, and he had 3 steals, which is rare for him, but it's so clear that the Bulls are not going to be re-signing Markkanen when he hits free agency. He just doesn't fit well with this roster when the Bulls already have the offensive firepower that it does, and the fact that he's a liability on the defensive end. Anyway, I know this is a bit of a shorter video, but was really happy to see how much the Bulls have been improving since the return of Lavine and Vucevic, and of course, the resurgence of Coby White ever since he's been brought back into the starting lineup, which really in a way he can thank Lavine for, since he was given the opportunity again to come back to the starting lineup with Lavine being out after entering the health and safety protocol, and then also Satoransky, who missed 1 game due to illness on that same night that it happened. The Bulls are still hanging in there, guys. I imagine they're going to keep fighting and playing hard even if they end up getting eliminated, and I have to say, despite a disappointing season, it's been a lot of fun, and it's good to see the team finally do well and mesh together for really the first time all season. Like I mentioned, I'll be out with my weekly preview video tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. I'll also be announcing a season-ending giveaway, so stay tuned for that as well. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and of course, I'll have a live game chat for the game against the Nets on Tuesday if you're interested in joining with other fans and chatting through the game while it's happening. As always, guys, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, as I post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one.